All right. Welcome, everybody, to our very first Sidelines conversations. So sometimes I got the name from, I will see parents and coaches and referees chatting on the sidelines about game stuff, about their kids, about soccer. So that's what this is about. So it's about you as parents getting involved in your child's development. And we are here as coaches and parents to help you help answer any questions you may have. So that's what this is all about. So here we go. Today is our very first one, and we have John Markey on the call with us. And so this is going to be a great conversation about club soccer. Why is it important for your children to be involved in club soccer? And then we're going to also chat about return to play guidelines. So that's what's happening. And so here we go. So thank you for joining us, John, and tell us, so let's get started. So just tell us a little bit about your roles here in Springfield, Missouri.
Well, you said roles with an S, and we have lots of them. Of course, all of us carry a lot of hats. I am executive director of Lake Country Soccer First. Part of that leads into as executive director of Southwest Missouri Rush. So we've kind of put these groups together and brought people together under one mind and one set to really move forward with the sport here in Springfield, and the staff that we've put together and the staff that will continue to grow all seem to have the same mindset. So my roles basically are running the business end of everything and putting the staff together, and then recognizing their best talents and let them go to work and let them utilize their talents to make the best club around. So that's where we're heading.
Awesome. So I believe you have a few other roles. What is your role with within the state, Missouri
I,
Youth
uh,
Soccer?
I am the Southern Commissioner, so I serve on the Missouri Youth Soccer Association Board as a Southern Commissioner. Also am a 2006 Girls ODP coach. Uh, I'm part of the Hotel Motel Association here in town, and chief fundraiser, chief bottle washer at home. I mean, a little bit of everything. So.
Hey, thanks for sharing. That's so you do wear a lot of hats, and that could be a lot of different things that you do during the day. I've been in your office watching you multitask, so that's kind of impressive. So let's get on to talking about what does what's club soccer and why should children participate in that environment. So remember, if you're on the call, just feel free to type in a question, and any question that you may have for John, and we will ask it for you, or feel free to unmute yourself and ask. So that's those are what we're going to do. So the next question is, what does the current club soccer environment look like here in Springfield? So describe what club soccer is and what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, club soccer is always interesting because the term club soccer has so many different meanings, but really it's a group of people to come together with a common goal based on whatever that goal is. Our common goal as a club is player development, utilizing individual player development to grow teams in a team environment. So each club has their own goals. That's the goal and the staff we put together, that's their goals. So it's really important. The environment here in Springfield kind of lends itself to really look at the differences of each organization and say, how can we create better opportunities for every child out there? Whether you are the youngest player, the oldest player, whether you want to play college ball or you just want to have fun playing some recreational soccer, how do we provide the same opportunity for every single player? And the environment that we're in now is going to lend itself. We're really going to have really boils down to two large clubs going forward and some of the small independent teams in the market. But I think two large clubs going in, and I think with both with staffs that have a background in a profession in the sport of soccer. As far as the club environment in soccer in general, I've talked to a lot of football coaches in the past that said if they had it all do over with their kids growing up, they would always make them play soccer first because it just turns all the kids into rounded athletes. Flexibility, agility, quickness, all those things you need in football, besides the muscle aspect that you can get when you hit high school. And they've always said you can learn football when you get in high school, but take those opportunities to become an athlete, you do playing soccer. So that's kind of the environment that we go by. We want kids to have a good time, enjoy the sport, but most in all, become the kind of person player they want to become out of the sport.
Yes, that's true. I know that a lot of parents ask, is it too early to start your child in club soccer at age 3, 4, 5? What do you say about that?
I think it's never too early to start, but it really has to do with the program you're starting them in. I see Coach Bruce is on with us, and he's going to be our academy director with the youth academy. And it's all, as long as the program is based on the right principles. Our principle with the young ones is learn the basics of the game, but have a lot of fun doing it. And as long as they're having fun, they want to keep doing it. They go out and they ride their bike because it's fun. And if they have fun riding their bike, then they're going to keep working at it and they're going to get better at it. Same thing with soccer is our job is to teach the game without them knowing they're in a learning environment, just so it's fun for them. And I think that fun has to stay in the game. The term fun changes as kids get older or the competitive level gets over. When you take a 14-year-old boy and you say, hey, we're going to have fun at practice today, to him, that means they're really going to compete. He's going to get to be challenged. He's going to get to take some other players on, and that's where his fun's going to come out of it. A 4-year-old versus a 14-year-old might think fun's going to be playing tag while I'm dribbling a ball at my feet, something like that. So it really, and that's our job as a staff and as coaches, is to figure out how do we keep kids in the game at all ages from 3 to 19. And so we have to make sure we understand every stage of the game at every age.
Ages and stages of development. We went through that a bit through
Yeah.
licensing courses, so that's good. So along with club soccer, we also, a part of that aspect, I have a question that popped up from a parent. When will the facility upgrades get underway? So at Lake Country, what do we have in store for facilities coming up?
Yeah, facilities. I mean, that's one of our big targets at Lake Country. We've hired a group called Cogio out of Oregon. It's a capital fundraising company to guide us in raising funds. Right now, we have a $10 million capital campaign program going on. We have a soccer golf event on July 18th at our South Fields. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be family oriented. Mom, dad, and the kids can come out and play, can all play in the soccer golf. $5 for a child, $10 for an adult. It's really kind of a kickoff to this campaign to get people to understand that first million that we raise, we're going to go get Field 2 turf. The second million, we're going to get Field 3 turfs, and then head over to North Fields and start putting turf over there. So we're constantly looking for opportunities and people that want to get involved in helping us raise funds so that we can improve the facilities. The Springfield Greene County Parks Department is trying to get a sales tax referendum passed so they can also help us get turf on the field. So unfortunately, with the COVID event coming up and the last vote, it's really going to be April 2021 before we can get on a ballot. But we're really pushing hard for that. So hopefully we can keep that target of April 2021 to get on ballot, because they've been really strong with us wanting to help us improve those facilities. It's a feather in their cap, and we want it for the kids badly. So anybody who wants help can always give me a call. I'd be glad to take any assistance on raising the funds.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So let's get back to, so right now, what are all the options for kids to play soccer in Springfield? Not just counting club soccer, but what kind of opportunities do each kid have here in Springfield?
There, there's a lot of opportunities. A lot of people don't know. Of course, we're we're kind of geared towards Southwest Missouri Rush because we kind of think it's the best. But if we didn't, we wouldn't be doing this. But the reality is, you've got Sporting Springfield, you got our club, you've got a couple of independent teams out there. The YMCA has this program with about 500 to 600 kids. Nixa Park and Rec, Ozark Park and Rec, Republic Park and Rec. They all have programs for recreational kids. The Springfield Greene County School System has the Spark program, which really geared towards, and all those are geared towards very recreational, low cost for those that need that. The instruction's not as good, it's not as strong, but it does put players in the program in soccer. And so our goal is, can we help those players learn to enjoy the game more from our standpoint? But there's a lot of there's really probably close to 5,000 soccer players, youth soccer players in the Springfield area. The club soccer scene accounts for about 3,500 of them.
Yes, it's growing. I'm excited to see what happens here in Springfield coming up. So how does Southwest Missouri Rush fit into the Lake Country soccer landscape? So how does that all work?
Yeah, Lake Country, I mean, it's an interesting setup, but Lake Country soccer's goal in my 6 years that I've been here and before I ever got here is all about how can we improve the soccer experience for kids in Springfield. And so we've looked at it, facilities, we want to improve the facilities, programs, we want to have the best tournaments, the best leagues, the best opportunities for kids to get involved here, instructional programs, camps, and all that. So the next thing, so facilities, tournaments, leagues, camps, and then the next business that we've added to our company is the Southwest Missouri Rush program. Each one is basically self-funded. The club will be self-funded from club funds. The facilities is self-funded from facility rental funds. Our programs are self-funded by the program fees we charge there, but they all kind of come under one big umbrella that is a 501c3 Lake Country Soccer. So it's really separate businesses. That's why I've got to have staffs like Christy and Thalen and Bruce and Tyler and the staff that we have to run the club side of it. You know, my job is to look at the business end of it. I'm lucky enough that Christy will let me coach a girls team, but we really enjoy. I enjoy coaching not 3 or 4 teams like I used to do, but one team is really exciting. But other than that, they're going to run that side of it, and I'll run the business side of it, and I'll tie all these different businesses together from our standpoint and make sure they all have the same goal. We're a 501c3, not for profit. Nobody makes any more money on what we do. So it's not about how much money we make. It's about how much money can we put back into the programs for the kids. And that's really what we come down to.
Good, thank you for sharing that. So moving on. So now that we've been talking about Rush and where that fits in the Lake Country landscape, tell us more about Rush and what are some of the programs and why is Rush chosen for that? Why did we choose Rush?
We really looked at 2 options, and we have an advisory committee, a bunch of really good people involved with this. And we really looked at 2 programs, Gallagher Soccer up in St. Louis, who has an affiliate program, and the Rush affiliation program. And it really came down to, they both have a lot of good strengths. We've really came down to the support structure that Rush has built over the last 30 some years of becoming an affiliate franchise type organization. The Rush started in Colorado with the Colorado Rush years ago, and it really has turned out I knew in our research, and the advisory board felt in our research that that ended up being the way to go because of the A to Z structure, the A to Z support they give. They don't just look at the top to support the top competitive players. They look to support the youngest recreational player all the way up through the oldest competitive, highest level competitive, all the way up through the pro and semi-pro league. So it really made sense for us from that standpoint. What we didn't know, we had an idea, but we did not know to what level that that support comes in. The marketing department, the coaching education department, the coach development, the player development tools that they give us, every piece of it, the discounts on uniforms because of the tie-in with Compelli. When you have 35,000 players that you're buying uniforms from, every uniform company wants to work with you and give you discounts. So just the economies of scale have been huge. So the things that we expected, we got, but easily 300% more than that by becoming a Rush affiliate.
It's been so exciting being looking through all their documents and looking through their curriculum for for player development, looking through their CAP program, which is the college advisory program. That's been huge for me as an assistant college coach. I think that's fantastic for the girls going through that program, and they're going, once you get into it and you look through that, you're really going to see how much detail that they put into helping these girls make good decisions on their future in soccer. So that's been huge. Yeah, did anybody else want to add anything about other coaches that are in Rush? Want to add anything about the programs?
Well, I think their support programs for players as well as their support programs for coaches. So the beauty of it is that the players benefit when the coaches continue to grow in their abilities and in the coaching aspect. And I think their pathway that they provide through coaching education is just really, really strong. And I think in the long run truly benefits the players that our coaches will be coaching.
Thank you, Bruce. Anyone else want to join in with that conversation about the programs?
Hi, Christy. This is Thalen. I think there's so many programs that I know the parents that I've been communicating with, I've sent them so much information that it probably seems overwhelming. And so I mean, I think we could go on and on and on about what it has to offer because there are so many programs that really the exciting part about that is all we have to do is take advantage of what's already there. The blueprint's there. We just have to follow it. And so that's exciting for coaches can spend time coaching kids and developing players because the business end of it is taken care of. The development and all we got to do is follow the path that's already been laid for us. So I think that will in turn will lead to being able to focus on player development.
So Christy,
Yes.
let me just kind of add on that is the nice thing about Rush too is they don't dictate to us how we run our business. They give us the support and the tools, and we make them fit our market. They understand that every soccer market is different. So we make them fit our market. They have, and that was the other thing that really led us to them is their goals and their mission and their whole story is exactly where we wanted to go with the sport. So, but the nice thing is they want to learn from us as much as we learn from them. And then we take and we tailor it to what our players need here locally.
Good, thank you. I'm super excited to learn more about their programs and get involved in those. So let's talk about, I had a question that came in from a parent. What do you anticipate fees to be for the high school girls being only half a season?
All the fees, the way we'll probably work it, and we're finalizing the fees and we're really, really close right now, but it won't be exactly half, but it'll be close to that. but I would say on a very round figure, and this is guessing, but I would say on a very round figure, probably $600 for the season is going to cover everything: uniform, tournaments, leagues, registration fees, coaches pay. The only thing it wouldn't cover is your cost of hotels on out of town tournaments or something, but we're trying to make everything completely all inclusive, not an a la carte system where we keep nickel and diming coming back for more money. We will have payment plans out there where you don't have to come up with the money all at once. There'll be, it might be a four payment system, might be a 5 payment system, but we want to keep it as fair and as tight as possible. But we want to make sure our coaches are being paid fairly for their time and their efforts. But we want to make sure that everything we're doing is allowing us to put the kids in programs that really is geared toward their development. So really some of the variations will be based on the level of the team for that team and where do we need to go that's best for their development. So an under 18 girls team that has 12, 14 players that want to play college, well, we need to make sure we get them in position to be seen by college coaches. That's usually a little bit more expensive, and we'll address that too. But I would say that $600 figure is a good roundabout figure until the final fees come out later this week, to give an idea. Same thing on the boys' side, since they're only one season.
Thank you. And here we have another question. So thank you for the questions, parents. Playing soccer for years in Springfield, we've seen kids jump to different clubs because of coaches, programs, etc. How can Rush compete in Springfield, or how will Rush compete in Springfield?
Yeah, we have a very simple system to compete. We're going to do what's right by every single player, whether you be on a first team, a second team, a third team, whether you're recreational or competitive. We're going to identify, and this is what we're training. This is why we hire the staff that we have, and this is why the coaches that we have will be evaluated on it. But the idea is each player has to be treated as an individual, and each coach is responsible for figuring out what that individual player needs are and meeting those needs in a team atmosphere, and not focusing on the winning and losing. Winning becomes a byproduct of proper player development. So we will focus on that player development, and those that see it, understand it. Basically, what I always say is, if a player is better in November than they are in August, the parents will recognize it and the player will recognize it. And they're smiling at the end of the day, they had fun learning it, then they'll keep coming back and staying with you. Our program probably won't be for everybody, just because not everything's for everybody, but we're certainly going to do our best to provide what each individual player needs within the environment. This first year is going to be a learning curve because we have a lot of new faces joining us. We got a lot of people, a lot of different players coming in intermixing some where we're going to try to keep some teams semi together from the past, so it's not a world of change for the kids. But then at some point during this first year, there's going to be a lot of evaluation going on of players, a lot of evaluation going on of coaches, and a lot of coach development from our director staff going on to really make sure going in that second year, we know exactly where we're at. We know exactly what each player needs in our program, and we can move forward on that player's development.
Great, thank you. And to add on to that piece about evaluating players, we have Kirk Nelson that will be helping and giving a presentation to our coaching staff about U.S. soccer key qualities and then how that looks in the evaluation process. He's a U.S. soccer scout, and so he's going to share some of his knowledge with our coaches on evaluation process, and we're all excited about having him as well on board. So,
Absolutely.
okay. Yeah. So, okay, so I have another question. Do you have a limit on the amount of girls you will have, or are you going to have, a limited amount of teams from each age group?
No, and that's probably one of the best questions, because and I'm not sure I asked the question, but the reality of it is I've been doing this for 30 years, unfortunately. I'm as old as I look. So the reality of it is, and this is where people get confused on what competitive soccer is. If a player wants to become a competitive soccer player and wants to be developed as a soccer player, our job is to give them the tools they need. It's their job to take those tools and figure out what they're going to do with them. And so to me, that's the key. Any player who wants to join our program, we want to find a spot for them. That means we have 2 teams, 3 teams, 4 teams, we're going to do it. One of the things we really want to try to get back to is getting kids in their own age group, if that's the best place for them to develop, or at least get them close to it in the near stages so that we can get players in the best developmental situation. We won't turn any kid away if we can find a spot for them. If we can't find a home here, we will make phone calls to other clubs, other teams, other organizations to make sure that we keep every child in the sport. And that's really our biggest goal, is can we keep the kids in. Even if we were at a limit on a roster and we had no place to send a child, we're going to let them come in and train with us until we can find that proper home for them, because we want to keep kids in the sport. We want each kid to have that opportunity. So we don't have a limit on number of players. We don't have a limit on number of teams. We can find and train new coaches. We have top level coaches willing to take on another team if they have to, until we train some young coaches, but we'll make sure we have the coaching as long as we have the players.
Yes, I'm so excited about our coaching staff as well. It's so exciting, and I'm excited to get to work with all of our coaches coming up. So just a couple more questions. What are the positive aspects of joining a club environment? So positive aspects.
Christy's our girls director of coaching, so I've got to talk a little bit on the girls side. So this social aspect is huge to the girls side. Not so much the boys as the girls. The boys are more competition, but just life lessons that they learn in the club environment, not just within their team, but being part of a club, being proud of a club, giving them something to be proud of. We want people to be proud to wear that R on their chest and say, yeah, I'm part of Rush. And then being recognized for being in that role as they go back to their high school teams and their high school, oh, you're a Rush player, we know you're good type thing. So these are all aspects. One of the things that we really push in our environment is building confidence in every player within the environment, because that confidence is what allows them to take on more challenges. And if they're confident in what they're doing and they're willing to try something new, then if they're jumping off a diving board and they're willing to dive, maybe they're willing to try a flip next if they start really feeling good about it. And we want to really work on that confidence piece, and we want them to really train hard and try new things without a fear of failing. So we know that they're going to fail, but they're going to get better, and eventually they're going to beat it. So
I love that. So along with the positive, what are some challenges that players may face being in an environment, a club environment?
Every day they're going to be challenged to become a better player. Every day they're going to be challenged for their starting position on the field. All of our players will get play time. All of our players will get on the field because they have to get in that situation to figure out whether it's good or bad, to be challenged. But players have to earn their starting position by how hard they work, what they do in training, what the type of things that they earn from that standpoint. But the other challenges is there's a lot of new faces coming in. Tryouts are probably the worst time in the world for parents and players alike because of the stress it builds. But the reality is that's what prepares them for life in general. Just like going for a job and a job interview. There's only one position, 15 people trying out for that job. It's a stressful situation, but you're better whether you get the job or not. You're a better person for it. Same thing with tryouts. So we're in a situation where we're going to get everybody into our program that wants to get into it. We're going to help them get to the right spot. Whether they're there now or they're in that spot 2 months from now, it doesn't matter as long as we eventually get them there once we really get to know these players.
I think also a lot of challenges for girls is just maybe their friends aren't there, maybe they're it's a new environment, so they're I wouldn't say afraid, but apprehensive about coming to a new environment. Who are the coaches? Who are the other girls on the team? So a lot of that's challenging for girls. I know being the girls director, I face that quite a bit. So yeah, does anybody else have any other questions about the club environment that they would like to ask really quick? Any of our directors have anything they would like to say as well? We
No,
good?
sorry, this is
Oh.
Salem here, but I'm not going to add anything. I was just going to chime in and say I have nothing to add because I think you pretty much touched all bases.
That's good. So just we're going to add a few more minutes. I'm going to let John talk about the return to play guidelines that we have been following here at Rush. So go ahead, John.
Yeah, this has been some really trying and interesting times, but we were so excited to get players back on the field, and obviously, it's pretty obvious to us that parents were excited to get them out of the house and get them out on the field. The numbers that we've had out to these training sessions have been phenomenal. It's really hard to keep these kids interested in training when they know there's no scrimmage at the end of it. They don't get that bonus. So, but we're working hard to keep players socially distances. We're working hard and having training interesting in a variety of training. We got different coaches who come up with different trainings, but there is just thousands of touches they're getting on the ball right now, which is going to pay off for them. The next phase, which is supposed to kick off on June 15th, allows contact sports. For those that don't believe it, soccer is a contact sport, but it allows contact sport to begin contact practices. Right now, based on the mayor and Greene County's policies, contact sports can hold non-contact practices and utilize social distancing. Once we hit phase 3, it's really going to be more about you parents and the spectators in the stands maintaining social distance while the players are going through and scrimmaging and having a good practice. So we're ready to get back to just normal soccer again.
So I did have another question come in about the club. Do you plan on moving players, double rostering across ages or skill levels?
I guess the best way to answer that is there's no promises on what we'll do, but the reality of it is we're going to do what's best for each individual player. And if it's the best developmental thing to do is to play up in age, we're going to play him up. We don't foresee dual rostering right off the bat. If someone wants to join a team or come get an extra training night in by going into another team's training, we're okay with that. Any player that shows they want to get something extra out of it, we're going to provide those opportunities from that standpoint. But as far as dual rostering, we're not going to put players on 2 and 3 teams just to fill rosters. We're going to do our best to fill rosters without doing that. We want to really, and this is going to be hard. In the beginning, it's going to be hard for parents and players to understand, but we really want to get it drilled down to a player development, per player development plan for each player. And if that means playing up, if that means playing on a second team and getting some training with a first team, whatever it takes for that player, it may be that the best place for them is play on a second team and then get some play time at first team so they can build confidence because they're one of the top 5 players on the second team. And then they come in and utilize that confidence and come to the first team with it just to develop as a player. It has nothing to do with helping that top team out as much as it does helping that player out.
Yeah, so anything else, parents? I think we've answered all the questions that I have. I appreciate everybody being on. So this is a fun time that we get to get together. Parents can ask questions. Next time we will join in with a different topic on next Monday, but I hope everybody can join back in. This will be posted so you can refer back to it or share it with others that are looking to have questions answered. So anything else, John, that I need to
Yeah, let's
say?
just real quick, if you have a topic as a parent
Mhm.
sitting on the sideline watching soccer, getting ready for tryouts that you would really like to have discussed or answered from any of our staff or even somebody on the outside, if you want to bring a college coach on besides Bruce and Christy, and you want to find out what a Division I coach looks at, what a Division II coach, send Christy those topics and she'll put a program together. Christy K at swmorush.org. So Christy K at swimorush.org. And she's gonna keep this program going. It's gonna be fun for the parents, and it's gonna be a communication tool I think is really gonna pay off for all of you.
I'm really excited about parent education within the soccer environments here in Springfield. So I just have been wanting to do this for a long time. I was kind of nervous to get it started, but I'm excited that you all decided to join us, and I appreciate that. So looking forward to seeing you parents out on the field, and feel free to just come right on up and talk to me whenever and meet me, because I'm looking forward to getting to know everybody. So thanks so much. All righty, well, I'll see you guys later and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Christy.